Okay, so we're about to start. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. We were just trying to rectify a few things with the Zoom platform, but I think we're actually good to go. So, a kind reminder for those that have forgotten my name. My name is Oluwasheyi Hassan. I like to keep this myself. And in case you don't want to forget me, you can look me up on LinkedIn, follow me, like me on LinkedIn. Um, so today we'll be talking about pivot table. I won't be doing so much of definition. I'll not jump right into what we'll be doing. Do we all have access to the sheet, to the document? It's on the platform now. No, pivot table. So pivot updated. Do you have it? Oh, I thought I shared it. Um, pivot updated, yes. Rhoda. Okay. You all have it open. You all have it open. Okay, so today we'll be looking at pivot tables. I won't do so much of talk. I'll just jump right into what we'll be doing. We have several examples we'll be working with just so that we can understand the concept of pivot table. But just to start with a little bit of definition. So what pivot table does is it helps us to easily carry out analysis with when we have large data sets, we can easily summarize our data sets. So that's what pivot table does for us. It summarizes our data sets for us. When I say summarize, we can easily sum, we can carry out counts. We can also sum counts related items together. So what pivot table does in the simple word is basically it helps us to summarize our data sets. So let's see how that works. So this is the data set that we've been given. This actually shows transaction. Are we together? So this is a data set that we've been given. It shows different transactions that have been carried out. So you looking at this, you can tell that it's actually they're into sales of furniture, a few other related household items. Can we see the data set? So we can see that they're into sales of furniture and a few household items as well. So we're giving this data set so this is the data set we're working with. Just to explain, I should send it to the group.
About now.
Okay. So I've reset it to the group chat so you can check and download if you don't have it. Have you seen it? So we have a little time to download the file so we can start. Can I go on? Okay, so before I start, how many rows do we have in this data set? How many rows and how many columns? Just quickly. Can you just give me the number? I mean, sheet one. So how many rows and how many columns do we have? How many rows and how many columns do we have? 20 columns. Okay, how many rows? No? Huh? How many? 900 and? Okay, 9,995. Do you all agree? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So we have 9,994 minus the header. We're not counting the header. And then we have how many? Is it 11? I'm getting more than 11 now. How many columns, sorry, do we have? How many columns do we have? 20. All right, thank you very much. So it's 21. What's that? No. We're counting the columns. Please count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 stops at state. And actually showed us how to do it. That we have a status bar. So all I need to do is highlight everything and to give me the total count. If I want to highlight everything, you just Control Shift and you press your arrow key to the right. Control Shift, and then it will give me the total, which is 21. And then the same thing for the rows. Control Shift down, and then it gives me the total count for the rows. Is that fine? But how did we get 11? Who wants to help me out? I want to be sure. 11 columns. Someone said 11. So, who else got 11? Okay, so I explained the concept of pivot table. So let's see how it works. So to get to access your pivot table, go to Insert. So first, click anywhere in the table, but I usually advise that you click the first cell, which is A1, where we have our row D, row ID. So click on row ID, which is A1. Then, sorry, I've not done anything now. Okay. So please, can we click on A1? Cell A1. Can I go on? So next, we click on Insert, and I will click on Pivot Table. Sorry, let me not be too fast. So click on Insert. The first command you can see to your left is actually Pivot Table under the tables group. We can see that there are actually 3 different tables. We have table, recommended pivot table, and then pivot table. So please let's click on pivot table. sit here, insert. Go to insert, insert tab, insert. After clicking on insert, you see pivot table. Can you see pivot table? So kindly click on pivot table. Is that good? All right. So once you click on pivot table, automatically to select your table. That's what happened on that table range. Then you go down. The second part is asking us choose where you want your pivot table report to be placed. So here we'll click on existing. Yes, just click on existing. Don't press OK, and then we'll select where we want it to appear in the sheet. So under existing, I'm going to click here. So I clicked W8. Huh? Sorry? Existing worksheet. Then select a cell in that sheet, an empty cell, where you want your pivot table to appear. Select existing sheets and then select a cell in the sheet. So I'm doing it again. It was in new worksheet. I clicked on existing sheets, worksheet, and then I went and I clicked on any plate, any cell. In this case, that's W7. Sorry? Does it have existing? What does it have? Current and what? The existing current. Can I go on? All right. So once you do that, click on OK. So once you do that, click on OK. So we'll see a box pop up. Can we see this field? It's called a pivot table field. Can we see to the right? Do you all have this? So if you don't have it, it's fine. What you want to do is a new group will appear called show. Can you see the new group? Yes, look for field list and ensure that it's clicked. It's showing green. So if you can't see that table, then the field list is not showing. So are we good? Yeah, so this is actually called the field list. So this part basically itemizes, these are the different fields, right? These are called fields. And what happens is it works with the header. Sorry, let me be using this. So these are the different fields that we have. And basically that the headers we have in our table. And then down we have the different field areas that we'll be working with. So we have the filters, we have the columns, we have the rows, and the values. I'll explain how that works when we start answering some of these examples. So now let's start with the first question. what were the total sales under each category of items? So the question is, what we're trying to solve now is what were the total sales under each category of items? So one of the things you want to do is really pay attention to some keywords. In this question, some of the keywords are one, to your far right, W3. Can I go? Can I see the question? Are you in sheet one? Can I in sheet one? All right, thank you very much. So can I go on? Can I go on? What were the total sales under each category of items? So you want to pay attention to some of the keywords. One of the keywords basically is that we'll be dealing with is total sales, then also category of items. Is that fine? So if we check our table, we'll see that we have total sales. This is the sale. So what we want to do is total sales. So what will give us total sales? That is sum, right? Sum of all the sales will give us total sales, right? Yes. Exactly. Then we have the different categories of items, different categories. So let's see how we can use pivot table to solve this question. So what we want to do first is click on category. So check your field list and then click on category. Where is it? Can you see it? Yeah. Under product ID, just below product ID. Have you clicked on it? Sorry? So you might want to drag it to rows. Yes. So let me explain how this rows and columns. So rows and columns basically shows how the summarized data would appear. So if you drag it to rows, it's going to appear in a column down the row. But if you take it to column, it's going to appear horizontally, spread out. You just check it. There's a checkbox. Check it. I just clicked on it. I didn't do anything. Just click on category. And to go to, there are two things. Sorry, continue. Sorry? Nothing happened. So there are two ways. You can either check your categories, one, or you just drag it. You hold down, like let's click it, you hold it down, and then you drag to rows. Those are the two ways you can select a category. So I say we're dealing with two things. Category of items and what? What I want you to find? The total sales. So we can see that this category of items basically comes from here. So what pivot table did was to combine, to summarize our data. So you can see that we have other categories. We have furniture, office. They keep repeating themselves. But what pivot table did was to help us bring out the different, distinct, or unique categories. And the three unique categories are furniture, office supplies, and technology. So next what you want to do is sales. You can either drag sales to values or you can select sales. You can either drag it down to values or you select sales. Drag category to where? Uh-huh. Not sure. Sorry? Sales. Other value. So the field you always put under values are the fields that actually contain numbers that you want to either count, you want to sum, you want to carry out anything you want to carry out basically an operation on. That way you put under sales. So things like quantity, you want to add your quantity, you want to find the total profit, all of those things are the things you put under sales. Under values rather. The value field. Can I move on? So now do we have our answer? Do we have our answer? Exactly. So we see that we found, you see that we found the total sales under furniture. We found the total sales under office supplies and the total sales under, the noise is too much. So that's what pivot table helps us to do. If we were to do this manually, who would like to help me out? How do you think we would approach this? Is it sum? Is it just sum? Is it equal to sum? Remember, we're finding the total sales under the different categories. And we have 3 categories: furniture, office supplies, and technology. So what do we do? Office supplies. I talk about data validation, where you click the arrow and you select. That's what you're talking about. We use filter. Was it sum I used? So who wants to try again? One house, one house. Who wants to try? If we were to do this manually, how do we approach it? It's actually on point, but it's missing out just one small minor, very important thing. If we were to do this manually, how do we approach it? How are we going to approach it? So remember, this is a condition. We gave a condition, or we're having different conditions. So it's going to be sum if. Does that make any sense? Because there's a criteria. The criteria is sum if it's furniture to get the total sales of furniture. Sum if it's office supplies to get the total for office supply. Then sum if it's technology to get the total for technology. Do you remember? We forgot it. All right. So the good thing now, you know pivot table, so it's okay to partially forget that.
Sir, please come again. Right? We did not understand it.
Who does to try it and compare?
We didn't understand.
So I'm going to try it, but once I do it once, I'm not going to come back to explain.
I'm not getting you at all.
All right. So now I want to get the total sales for furniture equal to sum if. So first sales, comma, what's the criteria? comma, some. So please also watch. You can't see it. Okay. Then I'll have to start again. Okay, let me do it. So first, now these are the three categories we have. So now we want to find the total sales if it's furniture. So that'll be equal to sum if, open bracket. The first is range. What's our range? Our range for categories is column O. So I'm going to go there. Comma. The next is the criteria. The criteria now is furniture. So I'm going to click on furniture, which is W18. Then comma, the next is the sum range. The sum range is column R. And then close my brackets and enter. Let's see. Sum if the range is category, yes. This zoom is sorry. So the sum range is sales, which is R. Maybe 999. Can't see it. So equal to sum if the first argument there is the range. The range is the column that has your criteria. So it's like calling it criteria range. So the first is criteria range, the column that has your criteria. I selected the first one. I used Control Shift and pressed down. Select everything. So the first is the range. Then the second is the criteria. The criteria is furniture, which is W18. Then after furniture, after the criteria, the next is the sum range. The sum range is the sales, the column that has the sales, which is R2 to R9995. Which 02? That's the column that has our criteria. That's column O, not 0. Column O. That is the one that has the categories. Sorry? It's not 0, it's O. That's the range now. What came out? 02 is the cell. 02 to 09995 is the range, which means you used to select everything. So when you select the first one, use Control Shift and down. Control Shift and down to select everything. What's the question? What did you say? Control Shift down. Oh, sorry, there's some message. Okay, so I'm just seeing the messages. Okay, so I'm looking at what we have on Zoom. So what I'm doing is just a little bit of diversion. What I'm trying to explain is how pivot table actually works. Yeah. So I'm not explaining where to do it manually. This is the process to go about it manually. Yeah, but pivot table basically makes it easier for us. That's why I'm actually doing this. This is what we did in like 2 classes ago. Yeah, just explaining how to use sum if. So with sum if, you can actually sum using some with specific criteria. Yeah, so that's what I just did here. So for those just joining us, we're looking at pivot table. Yeah, I'm not showing comparing doing it manually with actually using a pivot table, just so you understand how much stress using a pivot table actually saves you, how much time rather using a pivot table actually saves you compared to one for first is writing on my screen. So that's so you know that how much stress using a pivot table actually saves you. So can we go on? What? That's some range now. That is R. Column R is the column that has the sales. Is that fine? Okay, so let me explain what I did. So now I want to come again. Everyone should listen. Let me do this again. So I'm explaining the concept of pivot table. We're going to do several examples. So I have about 7 examples here. So once I explain the first one, we'll just keep trying all the examples so it gives us a better understanding of how a pivot table works. I explained that a pivot table basically helps us to summarize our data sets, right? And I gave us an example. So I said, we're given this question, what were the total sales under each category of item? Looking at our data set, we can see that there are different categories. And we have furniture, office supplies, and all, right? And then we also have the total sales. If we were to solve this manually, we'll be using sum if, which we did here. So if we were to solve this manually, and we're trying to find the total sales for furniture alone, what we'll be doing is, based on what we learned from previous class, what we'll do is equal to sum if, right? Open brackets, the range that has the category, which is O2 to O9995, as we all agreed. Comma, the next is the criteria. What's our criteria? What's the criteria? Furniture, thank you very much. So we'll click on furniture, and comma. Then the next is sum range. What column do we want to add? What are we trying to add together? Sales. And where can we find the sales? Column R. So that is R2 to R9995. And then we'll close our bracket and we'll press enter. And that gives us 7,400, well, 741,000 rather, 999 999.8. So this is what it gives us. But I said with pivot table, you can easily get this answer without going through the process of using sum if. And to do that using pivot table, what?
Can you take that again, please?
So did you?
Hello, sir. Can you take that again?
Sir, please, can you take it again?
So if you do that, okay, so basically, yes, so that's where pivot table comes into play. Can I move on for those online? Do we understand what I'm trying to do?
Oh, no, you can't move on, sir. Please take it again.
It's not 0.9995. I guess you didn't join us when we started the class. What we first did was I asked the question, how many columns do we have and how many rows? To get the number of columns is Control Shift down. And you can see is 9995. That is the number of rows we have. 9,995 rows. And then the number of columns we have 21 columns. So that's what we did. That's where we got the 9,995. So please, it's not 0.995. It is O, then 9995. It's not 0.995. Hope that's clear. So this is O2. O as in NO, not 0. The same thing with this. O9995. The same thing with R2 and then R9995. Hope that answers the question. All right, thank you very much, Jessica. Sorry?
Yeah, can you just use the formula again for furniture? It just says furniture. Can you show the formula again?
Guys,
Let me know
please,
when I can
someone
move
mic
forward.
is open and is disturbing us, please. There are some frequencies. Please, we that are on Zoom, if you are not asking questions, please, let's mute the
Can I
mic
move
now.
forward? Who's back? They're taking me back. Can I move on? So I'm moving on.
Yes, sir, you can move on.
All right, so back to pivot table. So what you do first is you click on one of the cells in the table. So you click on A1 and then I go to Insert. Under your Insert tab, you see Pivot Table. You click on Pivot Table. Can I go on?
Please,
You can click on anyone. I just choose to click on A1. The reason why I click on A1 most times is to avoid errors. There's sometimes that your header will be in row 2. If your header is in row 2 and you click on any of them, I don't click on the header, it will select row 1, all the empty space in row 1, and that will give you errors when dealing with the pivot table. That's why most times I prefer to click on the first cell in your header. So I click on A1.
Hello, sir.
I'm trying to be slow. Let me know if I can move on. So under choose where you want your pivot report to be placed, I click on existing worksheet. So you can click on anyone. If you click on new worksheet, what will happen is once you click on OK to create a new worksheet, and then your pivot table will appear in the new worksheet. But since we want it in this current sheet, we're clicking on existing worksheets. Can I move on? So now I'm going to select the location. Where do I want it to appear? So I'm going to select any of the empty cells where I want my pivot table to appear. That's the location. So I click on W6, and that's the location where I want my pivot table to appear. Have you done that? Can I go on? Can I go on? So then I'll click on OK. And is that fine? So once you click on OK to your right, you see a pivot table fields. So I mentioned that if you can't see this, why don't you just go up and ensure that this field list is activated. This is basically called a field list. So deactivate it, just to click on it and it will disappear. And then when you click on it, it comes back on. So please, if it's not showing, kindly click on your field list to bring it up. Can I go on? All right. So now
No,
we're going back
Shavia,
to the
please
question,
come
and the
again.
question asks us, what were the total sales under each category of items? So I mentioned that when trying to analyze such data, you want to pay attention to the keywords. The first we're looking for is total sales. The next we're looking for is categories. So these are the two things we're paying attention to. So in our field list, we'll look for categories. So we'll go to category. Once we see categories, we'll drag it down to rows. So we're dragging categories down to rows. So where you have your field list, look for categories and drag it down to rows. Can I move on? Sorry? The chat. And delete the chat. Can I move on? So the next we're paying attention to is what? Sales. So we're taking sales to values because it's a number and we're trying to find the total sales, which means when we hear total, what comes to mind? Sum, right? Exactly. So we're trying to find the total sales, which is sum. If we don't want sum, we can easily change it back to, we can change it to count. If we want to count, let's say we're told to find the number of furniture sold or the number of sales, then we'll be using count. We're told to find the average sales, we'll be using average. We're told to find the maximum sales, we'll be using maximum. We're told to find the minimum sales, then we'll be using minimum. But told to find the variation or standard deviation or whatever information that we're told to find, you can use that by summarizing values by, and then we select. Is that okay? Okay, don't worry, you understand when we get there. So do we understand what we just did now? Okay, now that is the most important thing. So let's understand this. Sorry? Don't worry, when we're dealing with counts, we'll say it. For now, we're dealing with sum, so let's just focus on sum. Is this okay? Do we all have sum of sales? Do we understand how we got this? So you drag categories to rows, and then you drag sales to values. Is that fine? Are you using Excel? You should have exactly what I have on the board. Exactly. Category. Pay attention to the question. Category. Well, what will be the question? We're looking for the category and the total sales. Category and total sales. So you look for category and then you select the total sales. So can I move on? So basically, we've answered this question. We found the total sales for each of the different categories. We can see that we have 3 categories, which is furniture, office supplies, and technology. Those are the 3 categories we have. Any question? No. Do we understand? Yes. Can I move on? Yes. Let's go. Okay. So what's the question? Total price. And so, which means we have a column that has the price. Then you look for, it will appear in your price, in your pivot list. All you need to do is to select the price. Right? Well, we'll do something similar. We have a lot of questions for us today to answer. So let's try the second one. So the second question is, let's look at sheet 2. We're not in sheet 2. So can we all move on to sheet 2? Those online, are we good? Please, if you're joining for the first time, you can't be in this class. You can't join for the first time today. We've actually gone
Yes, sir, we
far.
are.
So there's yeah, so this is not the first class. For those that will be starting newly, we'll be starting in 2 weeks' time. So I think you can't join us now. That's Jonas. Thank you. So for those that are actually lost, no problem. Let's try the next one. Just follow the next one. We have about 7 other examples. If you didn't get the first one, then you should be able to get the second one. We're going to follow the same process to answering it, so you just need to follow. Are we together? So can someone help read out one house? Let's listen. Though we're going to repeat the same process, so you just need to listen to understand. Is that good? I'm still hearing noise at the back. Let's listen. We're about to repeat the same thing. So in case you missed the first one, you can get it again. So what's the second question? Who would like to read it out to us? Thank you very much. Which subcategory of items sold the maximum under each category? So the first step is our pivot table. So I'll first click on the sheet to bring out our pivot table. So I'm clicking on A1, then insert, the insert tab, and then pivot table. So I'm giving us a little time to do that. I clicked on A1, cell A1, which is the very first cell. Then I went to insert and I clicked on pivot table. I clicked on cell A1, went to insert, and then I clicked on pivot table. Cell A1, then I went to insert, then I clicked on pivot table, and then we'll have our create pivot table. Cell A1, then I went to insert, then I clicked on pivot table. Can I go on? Okay, so the next to do is to select the location where we want our pivot table to be created. So I'm going to click on, so I want the output to be created on this same sheet. So I'll click on existing worksheet. Once I click on existing worksheet, then I would move to the location where I want it to appear. And this time I want it to appear in X8. And then I click on OK. So I just went straight to X8 and I clicked on X8 and then OK. Is that fine? Those online, any question? No. Okay. All right. Sorry? Once you click on existing worksheet, select a location on your sheet. Anywhere, any of the cells on the sheet. Just click on any cell on the sheet. Then OK. Any empty cell. Are we good? Can I go on? Awesome. So now, you guys will be taking it over from here. What are the things we should look out for? What is the asking us for? What's it asking us for? No. I heard something from the back. Do we agree with that? Okay. So we're dealing with category, subcategory, and sales, right? But what are we looking for? No, it's asking us a question. What are we looking for? Maximum what? So it's asking us for, it said, which subcategory of items sold the maximum? So what are we looking for? So how do we get it? So how do we get the maximum sale? Is this sum? Are we adding it? How do we get the maximum sale? Are we adding it? How do we get the maximum? Said which subcategory of items sold the maximum? What are we dealing with? What are we looking for? So we're looking for the max, right? So we're not dealing with sum. That's what I was trying to get. All right, so first we're dealing with categories. So we select the categories first. So we're selecting our categories first. We're dragging it down to rows. So drag your categories down to rows. Oh, sorry, Blessing. Hope it's better now. First category. We agree we're dealing with category, subcategory, and sales. Do you agree? Does he agree? Does he agree? Do you agree? Sit here. Don't worry, that's a trick. They mention subcategory first, but see where they mention category. So we're dealing with category, subcategory, and sales. Do you understand? Yeah, so you need to just pay attention to the question. Sorry? This is your Excel. You're first showing the checkbox. That's what I'm okay, write it out. But the standard practice, standard for all sheets, just Excel that has that feature. Okay, so we're moving on now. I hope I've answered all the questions. So moving on, the next one I'm going to be dealing with is subcategories. So I'm going to draw subcategories under rows. Subcategories, we're dragging it under row. Are we good? Are we good? Have we dragged it? Did it appear like this? So please let me mention the order in which you drag is very important. If you put subcategories first and then you have category under, what will happen is you list out all the subcategories and then it will be putting the categories under. So you have something like bookcases, furniture, chairs, furniture, furnishings, furniture. But we don't want that. So we have the category, we have the subcategory. What next are we dragging? To where? Thank you very much. So we're taking our sales to values. So what do we do next? Nope. Nope. So what do we do? If we change it to maximum, to give us the maximum sales. Okay, we do equals to max. So let me just draw our attention to something. Let's look at this. The question is, which subcategory of items sold the maximum? So what are we dealing with? Quantity. Sold the maximum. It's from the quantity of sales that you can tell the maximum, right? Isn't it? Who agrees? It's the quantity that gives us the maximum. Isn't that the quantity? Yes. Which one sold the maximum? Which one sold more? Yes. So is it sales or quantity? Thank you very much. Do we understand? Huh? Exactly. Which one had the highest quantity, right? Is anybody confused? So we're not using sales, we're using quantity. I can sit in my place. Ask me the question. So if it's telling you data source not available, then you need to select. That means you didn't select the sheet completely. So you need to select the sheet completely. Take a picture and just send Jonas to the chat, and then let me see. So you've not selected. You didn't select the your data table. You didn't select everything. So you need to select everything for it to be, for the source to be available. So the source is actually your data set. This data set is the source. So you need to ensure that it's all selected. If you're using Excel, usually Excel automatically selects it. But if you're using another version of spreadsheet, sometimes you need to manually select it as well. I think someone here also has similar consent as well. So please, let's check for that. And if you're not very clear on how to select the source, just send a picture and then I'll basically, what I can see, I can walk you through it. So do we understand the quantity? Hope nobody is confused. Okay, please ask. No, don't. This is not, I want us to think about ourselves. Remember I asked, which one should I select? You told me sales and I dragged down sales. Right? Then I asked what next. They told me maximum sales. I said no. Then let's understand the question well. Right? So I didn't say we should drag sales. I did not mention please drag sales. I was following what you told me to do. So I need you to one how. Can I go on? Yeah. So do you understand where quantity came from? Do you understand? So now the question is, which subcategory of items sold the maximum? under each categories. So now let's say we have a shop, we sell laptop, we sell tables. Which one sold the maximum? Well, how will I get it? So amongst laptop and tables, which one did we sell the maximum? Which one did we sell highest? Which one had the highest sales? Right? So if we sold 5 laptops and we sold 2 tables, which one sold the maximum? Which one had the highest sales? So we're not using the amount, we're using the number, the quantity. How many laptops did we sell? How many tables did we sell? So we sold more laptops, or 5 laptops, which means laptops had the highest or the maximum sales, right? So do we understand? Can I move on? So now I'm moving on. So please let's watch, because some of the things I'll do now is going to be a little bit tricky. All right, so if you notice, we have the, so if you notice, we have the number, the quantity of sales for each of the items, right? All we want to see is the maximum, right? So now, the first thing we'll do is I'm going to sort it out. Do you remember how to sort? So let's watch. For pivot table, let's watch how we sort. Do I need to zoom? Let me zoom. So now, I'm going to right click, look at it, see where I clicked. Don't just click anywhere. Please follow me. Are we good? So please click the subcategory. If you click the category, the sorting will be different. So kindly click the subcategory, any of the subcategories. So now I'm clicking on the quantity under bookcases. So I would right click and then go to sort. I would right clicked and then went to sort. And then I'll sort from largest to smallest. Do you see that? I sorted from largest to smallest. Sorry? So yours will be descending. So if yours is showing ascending to descending or descending to ascending, then you want to click on descending to ascending, because descending will be the highest, ascending. Sorry, yeah, descending to ascending. Is it descending to ascending? That is descending. Yeah, you click on descending. Sorry, just click on descending. So can we see that it has rearranged? Under furniture, which one has the highest quantity? Which one sold the highest? How many furnishings did we sell? Yeah, so you can see furnishings sold the highest, right? Under office supplies, which one sold the highest? Under technology, which one sold the highest? So now, the only thing we want to see is furnishing, binders, and phones, right? So who wants to guess? How can we get this? Who wants to help me out? How can we select? We only want furnishing, binders, and phones to show. How can we do that? I explained a few concepts using our previous knowledge. How can we get it? You mentioned something earlier in the class. Yes. What is it? Tell me. Yes. You mentioned it here, but I want to press inside it. So what did you mention? Now click. What is it? Yeah, you click on the arrow and click. But what's the word? Thank you very much. Come to all right, so what we can do at this time is refilter, so that we are able to select only the maximum quantity. Is that fine? Filter. Should I say it again? Filter. Again. All right. So we can actually filter. Do we understand? Do we understand? So let's filter. So what? So the question is asking us for only the maximum. Doesn't want to see the others, right? Just the maximum. So for us to delete the other ones or to hide the other ones, we filter it. That's what I mean. So now to filter, the way we went about the sorting is almost the same way we go about the filter. We right click, but this time we'll look for, can we see filter? I'm not seeing filter. Can anybody see filter? Oh, yeah, under. So click on functions and then click on filter. Sorry? No, not the filter up, oh, right click. So right click functions, then select filter. No filter. Click on functions. Not value, functions. Are we good? So can I move on? Can I move on? Those online, did we see filter?
No, sir, I can't find filter.
Okay, so I clicked on furnishings, right click, filter, then go to top 10. Can you see top 10? Click on top 10. So now it's going to be asking us, so the first is show. So is it showing the top or is it showing the bottom? So you can have show top or bottom. So we're looking for the maximum, that is top, right? Then we change it to 1. Top 1. Top 1. That 10, change 10 to 1. And then we'll click on OK. And that is all. So can we see that we filtered it? And what do we now have? Furnishings, binders, and phones. Do we understand this? So this is actually one way to do it. I'll introduce the concept of slicers. So we'll see how we can also use slicers to filter as well. But do you understand what we just did? Should I quickly run through it again? Should I quickly run through it again? So I'm going to run through it again. So first, I selected categories, subcategories, and quantity. Then after, so I selected categories, subcategories, and quantity. So the first thing I did was I sorted it out from largest to smallest. Then I clicked on furnishings, right clicked, and then I filtered top 10, using top 10. I clicked on top 10 and I changed the 10 to 1. So it was top 1 and I click on OK. And basically it filters it out. Is that fine? So we are done with the second question. Now let's move on to the third one. So the third question is what? Who would like to read it out for us? What was the question? Okay. Which were the top 3 states from each region that made the highest average profit? So we'll go through the same process. Row ID, insert pivot table, existing worksheet, and remember before you click on OK, select your location and then OK. So let's do that. Let's do that quickly. Can I move on? Okay. So now what are the things we're working with? We are dealing with region, the state, and then the profit. So which one are we picking first? All right. Thank you very much. So we'll pick the region first. And we're dragging it down to rows. Thank you very much, Adora. Correct. Region, state, and profit. So the next we'll pick is the state. We're dragging it down under region. So you can see that we have all the states under the different regions. Is that fine? Then what's the next? The next is the extension. Profits, we're dragging it down to values. So now what are we looking for? What is it asking us for? So we're looking for top 3 states, which means we need to filter, right? But that made what? The highest. So what do we now need to do? So are we looking for sum of profit or average profits? Thank you very much. So we're looking for the average. So we can get the average by, sorry. So I'll select sum of profits. Now I'm changing sum of profits to average. So we'll go to value field setting. So I right click and I go to value field setting. So once you right click, look for value field setting. Let me know when you're there. Are you there? Can I go on? Have you seen average? Have you seen average? So let's select average. And we change it to OK. Have we changed it to average? Then we OK. After that, then repeat the previous step that we did. You sort it, then you filter using top 10. Let's quickly do that. Let me know. First, to tell me the first 3 for Central. I want to know the first 3 top states. Sorry? What do you think? What do you think? Highest average. So is it going to be smallest to largest or largest to smallest? Yes, the first 3 for Central. First 3. Indiana, Minnesota, and Missouri. Did we all get that? No, it can't be Missouri. It can't be Missouri. Are you sure? Oh yeah, it's Missouri. Yeah, Missouri. Yeah, Missouri. So did you all get that? I said, get the top 3. Eh? Okay, so for those confused, just watch and see how we do it. So let me use another approach. Right click, then for the sort, this time I'm using more sort options. It's still the same way, I'm just showing you different ways you can do it. Average profits. So under descending and okay. Indiana, Minnesota, and Missouri. So we have the first three. Then the next is to filter. But this time I'm going to be using, let's watch. So do we understand how to use the top three? So for the top three, right click, then click on filter. So I clicked on Indiana, then I right clicked and I selected filter. Once you select filter, you see top 10. Can you see top 10? So let's select top 10, and this time we're changing top 10 to what? Top what? So changing that 10 to 3. Because we're looking for the top 3. And then we'll click on OK. We have for Central, we have Indiana, Minnesota, and Missouri as the top 3. Do we understand? You can do, yeah, Control Z. So I'm giving you a little time.
Wake me, I beg. This class today, na sleep, I will just sleep. I will watch their video. You see the one in the phone. This is so trouble in
That should come again from average. So first I'll drag down profits to values. Then next I change my sum of profits. Summarize values by, you can select average. Or you go to your field settings and you select average, depending on which one you want to do, which approach you want to use. So can I go on? Okay, so I'm doing it again. Let's go through it again one more time. So first, do we not understand how to change to profits? Yes. So how to change to average rather? Okay. So let's do it again. I right click, let's watch. Right click. There are actually two. So the next is, so I right click sum of profits. There are two ways. One is you can click the value field setting, or you can click on summarize values by. Are you watching? Can I go on? All right. So you can click on average. So summarize values by, and then you select average. Once you select average, you have your average profits. Then what I did was, I sorted it from largest to smallest. Right click, and then click on sort. Sort largest to smallest. Then after that, I'll click on one of the subcategories or one of the states. In this case, we have Indiana. I'll right click. I'll right click and then I'll go to filter. And then I'll filter top 10. So I'll filter top 10. So I filter top 10. So click on top 10 and then I'll change the 10 to 3 because we're looking for the top 3 states. And then I'll click on OK. And with that, we have our top 3 states with the highest average profit. Can I go on? Are we good? Okay, endowed. I sent it this evening. Kindly try to download it again. But let me see if I can quickly send it. So can I move on?
Yes, sir, you can move on.
Where is the okay, so can we move on now? Okay, so let's move on to the next question. So this one is asking us what is the percentage contribution of each subcategory of products under each category to the total sales. Do we want to try this ourselves? Okay, now let's generate our pivot table. A1, insert pivot table. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Then existing worksheets. And then you select. Okay, please try a new worksheet. It's the same thing. But you have to be navigating. Okay, don't worry. Yeah, try a niche. Yeah. No, you can actually try it. Give it a try. Yeah, just give it a try. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt to try. Give it a try. So let's try using the new worksheets. You guys done it. Can I go on? New worksheet or the existing sheet? Any of that works. But try with the new worksheet. Try with the new worksheet. Yeah, try with new worksheets. It's the same thing. Can I go on? To create it itself. Can I go on? Can I go on? Okay. So now let's look at the question together. The noise is becoming too much. What is the percentage contribution of each subcategory of product under each category to the total sales? So we're dealing with category, right? What else? Subcategory. What else? Total sales or sales. So categories first, then subcategories. Can we go on? So then we'll be moving sales to values. All right, so it's asking us what is the percentage contribution of each subcategory of products under each category to the total sales. So what we'll be looking at for is percentage of grand total. To get that is you right click. This time we'll be showing values as right click, that's sum of sales. Have you done this? So show value as, what are we showing value as? Percentage of grand total. Because percentage contribution of each subcategory of product under each category to the total sales. So it's percentage to the total sales. So look at percentage of each category of items to the grand total. And then we'll just sort it largest to smallest. And we are done. Is there any other thing we're missing again? What are we missing? Sorry, percentage of grand total. Are we good? Can I go on? So moving on. So we're done with this. Can we quickly try sheet 5? And let me know the answer. Can we answer the question on sheet 5? Which customer made the lowest profit in the home office segment in each state? So quickly we have, how many minutes can I give? It's 5 minutes, okay. Okay, we have 8 minutes, so 3:30, we'll do it together. So we have 5 minutes to try it, or 8 minutes to try it. On your own, yes. Sheet 5. Which customer made the lowest profit in the home office segment in each state? Which means you're dealing with states, home office, and customer. So let me just help us out with the first step so you know what to do. So we're dealing with, so let me just explain concept of how you can filter even in the field. You see an arrow key. Can we see this? Can we see an arrow key beside segment? Can you see it? If you click on that arrow key, you see the different categories. You can see consumer, corporate, and home office. So with this, you can just filter. So you uncheck select, and then you select home office, and you click on OK. So once you do this, once you drag the segment 2 rows, it will only give you home office. You are not watching, that's why I didn't get it. Continue, it's classwork. Please go on. I was just helping you. Please go on. Don't follow the same approach we'll be doing it. You'll figure it out. You'll be fine. All I'm going to do is just to filter the home office under the different segments. That's what I'm trying to explain. So please, let's give it a try. Can I go on? Are you guys done? Is anyone stuck? I don't know the answer until we do it. What did you get? It's not just one name. Remember, the question is yes. So they said, which customer made the lowest profit in each state? So we're going to be having one customer per state. So it's one customer per state. So, what am I saying? Corporate. So, no. Home office only. I'm saying office. What's the yes. So you want to worry about so first you have home office. Next you have space. So can we do it together? Or should I just move on? All right, so the first is segment. Then what do we do next? I'll take my state, right? All right, so I have my different states under the different segments, under my home office. Then what next? Sorry? All right, customer's name, I have it under states. Is this fine? So now, what are we dealing with? Profit or sales? Thank you. So we're dealing with profit, so I'll drag profit to values. Yes, and then what next? So we're looking for the lowest, right? So sort from smallest to, oh, sorry. Sort from smallest to large. Thank you. Then what about filter? Is it top or bottom? Top or bottom? So please, is bottom.
Bottom.
Please, is bottom and then 1. Go, I'm looking for the lowest. So I'm looking for the lowest, so it's bottom 1. Yeah? Let me do it again. I right click, then filter, top 10. This time I'll change it to bottom 1. So with this, we have all our customers with the lowest profit. Zoom it. What am I zooming? Please tell me, under Alabama, do we have Christiana none? Yes. Under Alabama, which customer has the lowest profits? Which customer has the lowest profits? Under Alabama. Is it Christiana none? Yes. All right, thank you. So with that, we've answered the question. Any question based on this? Those online, any question?
No, sir.
Son has Colorado. Bottom. All right, thank you very much, Alio. So can we move on? Yes. Brother in shirts. Can we move on? All right, so please watch so you can understand. I had someone say I don't understand. Samuel, is that you? Are you the one saying you cannot understand or you don't understand right now? All right, so watch. Starting again. Are we together? So first I created a filter. Let me clear this filter. So first I created a filter since it's only home office segment, one house. Since it's just home office segment we're dealing with, I selected home office. I filtered based on home office. Is that okay? Is that okay? Don't worry, let me explain another method. So let's select segment. The other way you can do it is you can use this to filter too, the arrow key, and select home office. That also works too as well. So moving on, after selecting segments, the next I selected was what? The state. So I select the state and I pull it down under segment. Then after state, the next I will mention is the customer's name. And then I put it under state. So we have the home office, which is the segment, the country, the state rather, and then we have the customer's name. Then we're looking for the profits. So I'm going to look for profits. I'm dragging profit under values. Can I move on? Do you understand up to this point? So the next is we're looking for the lowest profits, right? So I right click, I go to, sorry. I right click, I go to top to filter, and I select top 10. Under customer's name. Can I go on? And then I'll select bottom, and I'll select 1. Is that fine? Basically, it filters. Okay, so this is the last one we'll do together, and then we'll end pivot table with this, and then I'll introduce, we'll move on quickly into data analysis, but I'll also introduce a concept in terms of how to create a dashboard. We'll touch on that quickly, and then I'll quickly conclude with data analysis or analyzing a full data set. Can I go on? Can I go on? Sheet 6. Can I go on? I'm waiting. Oh, should I go on? What are we waiting for? All right, thank you, Festus. We're moving on. So for this one, the question is, find the sales made in each quarter of 2016 for all the regions. Use other year as a slicer. Also show how to create a pivot chart. Do we get that? Are we together? Are we together? So the question is, find the sales made in each quarter of 2016 for all regions. Now let's listen attentively because I'm going to be explaining a few things. So let's open our pivot table first, and then we'll move on to, then I'll explain how to go about answering this question. Pivot table, existing worksheets. We know the drill. Are we all here? Let's quickly do this, and once you're there, once you're here, let me see a thumbs up. Those in front, I'm not seeing any thumbs up. Those in front, those online. Only one thumbs up, only one person is ready. Or is there? All right, thank you. I need like 2 more. Online. Okay, well, I guess it's those 2 people in my class. Whoa. All right, thank you, Aliu. All right, so Ali, I like your thumbs up. All right, so moving on. So the question is find the sales made in each quarter of 2016 for all the regions. What are we dealing with? Region 1, sales 2. How do we get the quarter? Do we have the quarter? Do we have the quarter? Do we have the quarter? I need a response. I need a response. I want to be sure we're together. Please look at me. Look at me. Oh, I'm a fine boy. Look at me. All right, so let's move on. So what will happen? We have the other date, right? So with the other date, we can get the quarter. I'll show you how to do this. You can't see there. Is it from your table? Have you seen this? Yes. So we have the other date. We can get the quarter from the other date. Calm down to Jesus. So other dates will go under rows. Can we see my screen? Look at the other dates. Check your field. You see the other dates? So take it under rows. Now select one of the other dates, one of the dates rather. Select one of the dates. Under your analyze, look at the analyze tab. Under analyze, you see something called group. Can we see the group? Back where? See analyze. Which beginning? Where is the beginning? I want to believe the beginning is here, right? So I drag down other dates to rows. So now we're trying to get our quarter. There's no other dates. And if it's showing quarter, then you're fine. What we're trying to do is to get the quarter. If it's showing quarter, it's showing quarter. It's showing quarter and other dates. Okay, please select quarter. Sorry? It's showing you here, quarter and other dates. So if it's showing you here, quarter and other dates, it's fine. I'm doing this for the benefit of those that's not showing quarter. Like my own system does not show quarter. Yours is not showing. So that's why I'm going through this process. So if yours is showing quarter, just drag quarter to rows. Are we good? So if yours is showing quarter, please just drag quarter to rows. Is yours showing quarter? So if yours is showing quarter, please just drag it to rows. If it's not showing quarter, just pay attention to what I'm doing. Quarter and other dates. And yeah. So in case it doesn't appear, you know how to count about. Let's read the graph and then you can like. So understand how to generate. Can I go on? Can I go on? Yes, please. All right. So for those that have the quarter and year showing, great. If it's not showing, please just kindly pay attention so that you understand how to group it. So you click on any of the dates, and then you click on group field. So when you group field, then you select what you want to show. So you cannot select the quarter, and then you select year. So once you select this, then you click on OK. And basically, you'll see the quarter and the year showing. Sorry? Yeah. Did you see what I did? It's showing you just years. Okay, so it's cascaded. It's an English. Can you see a plus or a minus? So it's showing you 2015, 2016, right? Yeah, so when you click it, when you click that plus, it will break down. But remember, we're dealing with just, so the sales for which quarter of what year? What year are we dealing with? 2016 also. So you can click on insert timeline and other dates. And then we'll change it to year. Am I too fast? Sorry, Pele. All right, so do we have this now? Do we have our year, quarter, and month? All right. Can you see it now? I'm coming to it again so you can watch. So watch me. I click on the year, then I went to analyze. Are we watching? I clicked on analyze. I started from after the other date, so we selected other dates. So if you have quarter, you're fine. Just calm down and watch us. What I'm doing for the benefit of those that don't have quarter a year, reflecting. Can I go on? So you select one of them and then you group field. Select group field. When you select group field, we are selecting months, quarter, and years. Or better still, let's select just month and quarter. For now, we don't need, we'll filter by years. Sorry, month, quarter, and years. Month, quarter, and years. So once you select it, in your field, it will actually appear. You see quarter and years appearing. Can we see it? Yes, and you can also see it appearing under rows. So we now have the year, the quarter, and then we have the month, like this. Do you all have this? Any question? Any question?
Yes, sir.
Any question? I'm about to move on. Any question? No. All right. So the next we're dealing with is what? We say for all regions, right? So now we're going to be placing regions in column. Yes, not in rows this time. If you place it in rows, it will not be too long. I will know our regions is just 4 regions. So we cannot place it across the column. So that it looks like this. Do we understand? I just dragged region to columns. So what next are we looking for? So we're looking for sales, right? So we'll drag sales, sorry, not column, to rows. We're dragging sales to rows. Sorry, to values. What am I saying? Sales to values. My mind is somewhere else. So we're dragging sales to values. But remember, we're only supposed to look for 2016, right? And for what we have here, we have 2015, 2016, 2017. So what we'll do is we're going to use a slicer. So let's watch how that works. Can you see insert timeline? Can we see insert timeline? Can we see this insert timeline? Can we all see it under analyze? Yes. So I'll click on insert timeline and then I'll select other dates and OK. So insert timeline and then select other dates. Can I go on? So now I click on insert timeline and I selected other dates. What's that? Are you confused? Is it there? It's not here. Okay, sorry, we need to still round up this class. We have it's already past 4. We need to round up this class. Please, let's be fast with this. So other dates, okay. So basically, you can say we have our timeline. And then please select, based on period, select months to years. And then select 2016. On that period, change it to year. You see an arrow key that has month, change it to year. Once you change it to year, then select 2016. And for me, I don't like when it's showing, so it's not compulsory it shows. I already know that it's 2016, that's filtered based on 2016. So I have it showing. So do we understand? Have you answered the question? So now what we want to do now is we want to create a chart. Let's watch. We want to create a chart. Now I want to create a pivot chart. So I click on the table. And I go to insert. Are we together? And then I select recommended chart. And this time I'll use a line chart. Let me know if I'm too fast. So now we're creating a pivot chart. We're creating a pivot chart. I select any of the tables. I click on recommended charts. What part? We've gotten our answer. This is our table. Do you get the table? Then click on any of the chart. Click on line charts. Yeah. Doesn't want to move to this part. What part? So once you click on 2016, you've gotten your answer now. So we filtered it. So this is the total for 2016. So now what we want to do now is to get the pivot, the chart. We want to develop a chart. Can I go on? So I'm actually moving on. Let's just quickly listen. So I select any part of the table and I click on recommended chart, or I can select line charts depending on what we can see. So I'm clicking on line chart and then I'll click on OK. Can I move on? So this is basically our chart. This is how you get. Hello, this is how we work with charts. So I'm going to explain the concept of charts. This is called the x-axis, sorry, the y-axis. Are we listening? This is called the y-axis, and this is called the x-axis. And basically, this is our chart, and these are called legends, right? So it has actually plotted the chart. When carrying out comparison, it's important that you use bar charts, or the most ideal chart to use is a bar chart. But when you're looking at trends, when you're dealing with years, then it's ideal to use the line charts. Is that fine? So, and then also there's something called data labels. So you can label your chart. To label your chart, you use your plus. Can you see a plus sign to your right? So can you see axis title? So if you click on axis title, you can see on the X and Y axis, we can see the axis title, and then we can give it a name. Sorry? Yeah, click on the plus. So you can click on axis title. Then also, if you want the data label, you can click on data label, but it makes it look more messy. So we're not clicking on data label. Then also, we can put a title. Let's give our table a title. Chart title. So what can we call it? So we're going to call it, what can we call it? Sales by years. Oh, by quarter. So sales by quarter. And what do we have on the y-axis? What is the y-axis? Is it sales? So our y-axis is sales. And what do we have on our x-axis? The different quarters, right? So we have the quarters. And this is basically how you work or you create a chart. Is this fine? Is this fine? Any question? Any question? Are we tired? Are we tired? What are we taking you to? Today is the last class. You what? For both. When are we starting? I mentioned when we finished Excel, when I introduced the concept of Excel. Okay, so let me show you. I understand we're tired. So what I did was to basically focus on the different components. So now putting everything together, let me just show you how all the knowledge you've gained applies. Data analysis. Now, so imagine you've been given this data to work with. I wanted us to do this together, analyze this data together, but it's just because of time. So now you'll be given this data to analyze, basically. So these are the different stages of the data analysis. The first is your data exploration, where basically it's more like the attributes of your data, where you do your counts, like how many rows do you have, how many columns do you have, what is the sum, what is the average, and basically clean your data. So that is your data exploration, where you do your minimum revenue, maximum, total revenue, and average revenue. Are we looking at what we have? This is our project. Anybody that chats me up, I will not respond. I've told you. So listen so you can understand. Because I won't have, because I wanted us to answer these questions together. One more class where? Online where? Okay, all right. So these things we can answer it. I'm very sure we can answer it, right? Okay, all right. So quickly, let me just ask: how do you get the minimum revenue? Minimum, right? How do you get the maximum revenue? How do you get the total revenue? How do you get the average? Do you learn anything? All right, so the next step is that's your data exploration. Then also it's asking you, how many variables of columns do we have? How can you get the number of columns? Thank you very much. Can we use count? Count. Can we use count to get the number of columns? Can we use count to get the number of rows? How will it take time? Okay, so that's the first part. So that's where I introduce you into those functions of sum, count, average, mean, max, what else again? Mode, media. Basically, those gives you your attributes that are usually called descriptive analysis. Right? Is that fine? Yes. So the next step basically is your data preparation, where you basically clean up your data. The first step is basically to clean your data. Do you remember how to clean data? We did that last week now. Do you remember how to clean your data? All right, no problem. So you clean your data, right? And then you get your data attributes. Then the next step basically is data preparation. So now the first step is asking you is derive a new column. Let's listen. I wish you could actually do this together, but the truth is, tomorrow I'm not available, and then next time I'm going to be available is next week Saturday. And then next week Saturday we'll need to start another circle. We'll do those 1 hour. Okay, all right. So let's meet next week, Saturday, and then we'll complete the class. And we'll answer all of these questions together. All right, thank you everyone, and have a wonderful day. So for those online too, we'll meet next week. Oh, I wanted to be sharing my screen.